Tsubasa Kurata was a tech-loving otaku with amazing coding skills who always dreamed about robots and artificial intelligence. He became one of Tokyo's best programmers, specializing in action figure programming. One evening, just before heading home, he heard his team members worried about an unfinished project. The task would normally take many hours of work, and everyone was ready to go home. With his usual friendly smile, Kurata told his team not to worry and leave everything to him. Right away, Kurata went back to his desk and started coding the project. He successfully completed all the work on schedule, giving his team their free time back. His coworkers felt incredibly thankful for his help. Later, while heading home, Kurata stopped at his neighborhood convenience store to buy some action figures and anime. Unfortunately, he got into a terrible accident on his way home that ended his life. Soon after, crowds of people gathered to mourn the loss of this incredible programmer. Several months after Kurata's death, he was reborn in another world as Ernesty Echelier, where magic and supernatural creatures like demons were real. Ernesty grew up to be a clever young boy, keeping the same traits and knowledge from his life as Kurata. One evening, while traveling back to their kingdom with his mother Celestina and grandfather, they were attacked by a swarm of poisonous giant mosquitoes. His grandfather stepped outside their carriage to investigate. He discovered the insects feeding on their horses and jumped into action. Though the bugs tried to flee, Ernesty's grandfather caught them and cut them down. Celestina also left Ernesty alone in the carriage. In that moment, a massive bug lifted the entire heavy carriage with Ernesty trapped inside. His grandfather and mother could only watch helplessly, praying for his safety. Just when all seemed lost, a silhouette knight appeared and struck down the bug, rescuing Ernesty. As he looked at the robot that saved him, Ernesty was amazed to see how much it resembled the robots from his previous life. The silhouette knight, a human-operated robot matching the bug's size and power, engaged in direct combat with the creature. Using clever battle tactics, it quickly defeated the bug. Ernesty could only watch in awe as this incredible machine brought down the monster right before him. After the battle, the robot's pilot, Matus, climbed down from the cockpit to greet them. Ernesty ran straight to the massive machine and embraced it. Matus explained his role to the boy. He and his fellow Knights of the Night Runners were an elite group tasked with handling dangerous missions to protect the kingdom of Phila. The year was 1268, and Ernesty decided to dedicate his life to becoming a silhouette knight no matter what. With his exceptional intelligence, he committed himself to studying and mastering magic at the Academy City of Layla, near Keenan's capital. Over 3 years, Ernesty mastered every fundamental aspect of magic and mana. During his free time, he would observe silhouette knights and study their encoding. 3 years later, Ernesty becomes eligible to use a wand and perform spells. One night, he rescues a girl named Addie from falling off a roof. Addie is instantly charmed by her rescuer's cute and cuddly appearance. Her friend Arch, nicknamed Archie, arrives to check on her and thank Ernesty, now called Ernie, for the rescue. Impressed by Ernie's abilities, both friends beg him to teach them magic. Though Ernie initially declines, their persistent pleading eventually convinces him to help. Later, Ernie and his companions enroll in the Academy of Night Runner to train as silhouette knights. During his first class, Ernie's overconfidence leads him to request placement in middle school classes. His teacher firmly rejects this request, explaining that Ernie lacks both a thorough grasp of basics and the required height to operate a silhouette knight. After class, while spending time with his friends, Ernie develops a plan to master all the fundamentals quickly to achieve his dream of becoming a silhouette knight. While discussing his plans with his friends, they notice 3 bullies running past with someone's stolen hammer. The owner chases them, but can't keep up. Ernie stops to ask why the hammer is so important, and the boy explains he uses it to craft metal components for robot bodies. Appreciating this, Ernie uses magic to get the hammer back. Grateful for the help, the hammer's owner takes Ernie and his friends on a tour of his father's workshop. At the workshop, Ernie comes up with the idea to modify his magic wand into a gun shape. Despite Addie and Archie's objections, Ernie is determined to make this modification. He asks the hammer owner for help, who agrees to assist. Days later, the teachers organize a demonstration for students to showcase their learned spells. At the test site, Ernie again pleads to join the middle school class. The teacher, weary of Ernie's persistence, agrees to promote him if he can perform an impressive magical spell to destroy the targets. Ernie confidently draws his gun-shaped wand and successfully destroys all 5 targets. The audience watches in amazement at his impressive display. His performance earns him promotion to middle school classes. 3 years pass, and Ernie reaches age 12. One day, he secretly visits a large building to inspect newly manufactured silhouette knights. While there, he complains to his friend about the outdated knight designs. His other friends arrive and call him to join them. The Night Runners then board their silhouette knights and guide the students to a dangerous forest for their field trip. As night falls, Ernie and his friends enjoy dinner at their campsite. Addie's older sister visits to check on her sibling. Upon learning that Ernie is friends with her sister, she expresses her gratitude and praises him for being such a good friend to Addie. She then leaves them to continue their conversation. After some casual chatting, Ernie sneaks away from camp to examine the Silhouette Knights. Edgar, a senior night runner, approaches Ernie and shares information about the Silhouette Knight before them. He then permits Ernie to inspect the machine, giving him valuable hands-on experience with the robot. Suddenly, demon beasts approach the camp. Fortunately, scouts detect them early enough for the knights to board their machines and prepare to evacuate the students. Once all students are safely in the carriage, Edgar, Dietrich, and several chosen knights engage the beasts in battle. Meanwhile, Addie and Archie assist their elder sister in defeating some of the creatures. Nearby, a behemoth approaches the capital, spotted by a Kingdom Knight runner who reports it to his superiors. Strangely, his superiors, seeming to harbor hidden motives, urge him to alert the capital immediately. Once he departs, these superiors prepare for battle against the behemoth. They mount their Silhouette Knights and attack, but the behemoth's heavily armored body deflects their strikes. The creature charges past them and smashes through the city wall with devastating force. Meanwhile, the students pause to evaluate their camp's damage and assist the injured. They locate several wounded individuals and transport them to safety using stretchers. Addie's elder sister embraces Ernie, thanking him for his help against the demon beasts. However, Ernie remains troubled by something unusual. He realizes the demon horde's behavior doesn't match their typical attack patterns. Attacking from one direction seems strange. He suspects they're fleeing from something or someone, though he can't determine what. Just then, someone reaches the capital with news of the behemoth. As the generals strategize their defense, someone mentions the students taking their test in Clock Forest. This information alarms the generals, who quickly mobilize to protect the students. Within minutes, the behemoth discovers the students' location and attacks. Edgar and fellow night runners engage the creature to give the students time to escape. While others flee, Ernie stays behind to observe and analyze the enemy. His friend Dietrich, one of the night runners, charges forward and boldly rushes straight into the behemoth's mouth. Despite Edgar's warnings, the behemoth brutally destroys Dietrich's companion. Traumatized, Dietrich flees toward the dense vegetation, weeping as he runs. Ernie spots him and follows, eventually finding Dietrich's disabled Silhouette Knight with its pilot crying inside. Without hesitation, Ernie opens the hatch and takes control of the knight from the frightened pilot. However, once in the cockpit, he discovers he's too short to reach the controls. Frustrated but determined, Ernie improvises a solution. He channels his mana to control the Silhouette Knight, successfully reviving it. The machine responds to his power, rising to its feet. Ernie increases the mana flow, causing the knight to charge toward the behemoth at incredible speed. On the battlefield, Edgar and his squad endure heavy attacks from the relentless behemoth. Their fortune changes when Dietrich's robot, now piloted by Ernie, joins the battle. Though the behemoth defends itself, Ernie persistently attacks while experimenting with the knight's various combat capabilities. After brief practice, Ernie makes a crucial discovery. The monster relies on magic enhancement to support its massive body. He realizes he must target its weak point to defeat it. Ernie attempts to strike its eyes, but the behemoth protects them by closing them quickly. Undeterred, Ernie continues searching for vulnerabilities. The other knights arrive with their powerful cluster bunkers, joining the fight. They manage to blast holes in all four of the behemoth's limbs, but the creature stubbornly continues fighting. It retaliates fiercely, destroying several robots in its counterattack. Enraged, Ernie charges at the behemoth with fierce determination. His Silhouette Knight begins failing from exhaustion, forcing him to pause. He calls Dietrich to take control while he attempts a different strategy. Leaving the knight, Ernie unleashes air bullet magic to create powerful sonic booms that immobilize the behemoth. Once the creature is close enough, Ernie signals Dietrich to retreat and activate the knight's electric field. Dietrich follows the plan perfectly. The electrical attack proves devastating, as the behemoth's open eyes allow the current to reach its brain, effectively short-circuiting it. After the behemoth falls, Edgar approaches Dietrich's knight, assuming Dietrich has perished. While Edgar's team pays their respects, they're stunned when Ernie appears with a very much alive Dietrich. Ernie casually greets them before rejoining his relieved friends. News of Ernie's incredible feat reaches the king, who becomes fascinated by the 12-year-old boy who defeated a division-level demon beast. That same day, Ernie and his grandfather meet with his royal highness. The king expresses his delight at having such a remarkable prodigy in his kingdom. After thanking Ernie for defeating the powerful beast, the king offers to grant any wish Ernie desires as a reward. After careful consideration, Ernie requests knowledge about the ether reactor, the core component of every Silhouette Knight and a closely guarded secret of the kingdom of Fenville. While the king's advisors object strongly, the king asks Ernie about his intentions for this sensitive information. Ernie wins the king's favor by explaining his desire to improve and enhance the Silhouette Knights. Impressed, the king agrees to grant Ernie access to this secret knowledge, with one condition: Ernie must prove himself by recreating a Silhouette Knight's body, a task Ernie knows he can easily accomplish. Grateful for this opportunity, Ernie thanks the king and departs. The following day, the Marquis of Salat, Addie's father, calls his daughters home. During their visit, he subtly requests them to monitor and report back on Ernie's activities. Both sisters agree without hesitation, seeing no harmful intent in their father's request. Meanwhile, Ernie and David, the chief mechanical engineer, examine Dietrich's damaged Silhouette Knight. While David laments the knight's terrible condition, Ernie stands fascinated by the wreckage. The hammer-wielding friend tries to pull Ernie away to avoid bothering David, but surprisingly, David calls Ernie back, intrigued by his observations. David then spends a full hour listening to Ernie's seemingly outlandish ideas. Ernie confidently proposes that he can help David create a superior knight that would outperform all existing models. David decides to give him a chance. Ernie then introduces the workshop team to his innovative concept, crystal fiber. After thoroughly explaining the fiber's properties and potential applications, he provides a practical demonstration. Impressed by this development, David welcomes Ernie to join their work. When Edgar and Helvey arrive to check on their knight's maintenance, they find Ernie enthusiastically sharing his revolutionary ideas with the captivated group. Building on the success of his crystal fiber presentation, Ernie advances to his next proposal, adding 2 additional arms to each Silhouette Knight. While David and his team initially object, arguing it would overwhelm the pilot, Ernie explains his elegant solution. The extra arms would simply hold wands and channel magic beams, requiring minimal pilot input. Though David's first reaction is frustration, he finds himself increasingly fascinated by this unusual young innovator's creative thinking. After the day's work, Addie and Archie plead with Ernie to include them in his future important missions, to which he readily agrees. The next day, Ernie secures approval from the principal for additional time and workforce to complete his Silhouette Knight project. With these resources granted, he returns to work with renewed energy. He shares his complete vision with the team and begins focusing on the mechanical aspects. Ernie and his workers spend the entire day creating prototypes designed to accommodate even the smallest Night Runner. Later, Edgar, Dietrich, and others test the prototypes, even engaging in playful games of tag. After completing the main models, David and Ernie invite Helvey to conduct tests. She briefly operates the robot before providing detailed feedback about necessary improvements and limitations. Ernie encourages Helvey to return to the Knight to evaluate their newly installed targeting system. While the accuracy needs refinement, the system functions adequately. Dietrich, having overcome his previous fears, shows genuine excitement about these Silhouette Knight improvements. To thoroughly test the new designs, David and Ernie arrange a sparring match between Edgar in the traditional Knight and Helvey piloting the enhanced version. The match begins with both knights exchanging powerful blows and laser fire. Edgar, after absorbing several hits, manages to pin Helvey down. However, Helvey executes a skilled martial arts maneuver to throw Edgar to the ground. Just as she's about to deliver the finishing blow, her mana depletes, costing her the match. That evening, everyone celebrates their progress with drinks. While the team believes they've reached their goal, Ernie announces this is just the beginning. During the festivities, an unknown figure quietly slips away to report their findings to a mysterious woman drinking with several men in another room, revealing hidden opposition to Ernie's achievements. The following day, Ernie and his engineering team confront their primary challenge: excessive mana consumption in their new Silhouette Knight. They devise a solution to modify the design for more efficient mana release. Meanwhile, Ernie and his friends conduct tests on their smaller, man-sized prototypes, evaluating various features including the chain and arrow mechanisms Ernie incorporated. Upon returning to examine the main Silhouette Knight design, the team expresses concern about the Night Runner's size issues that still need addressing. Back in class, Ernie contemplates design modifications for both the other knights and his own model. He eventually declares the Talisa Knight complete, though he recognizes the need for a more methodical approach with the remaining units. After classes, he visits the engineering facility with his grandfather to discuss broader implications, particularly how the lab might react to discovering that a young boy possesses such comprehensive knowledge and created these enhanced designs. Meanwhile, Addie and Archie debate whether to inform their father about Ernie's achievements with the Knights. They ultimately decide to report his progress before the lab can claim credit for Ernie's innovations. That evening, Marquis Dickard sends a message to Ernie's grandfather, requesting a meeting with the students responsible for the new Silhouette Knights. Upon receiving this request, Ernie's grandfather authorizes Dickard's Knights to gather all students involved in the project. As David, Ernie, and the entire development team begin their journey toward Dickard's fortress, they remain unaware of the danger ahead. One of their adversaries has secretly prepared a trap along their route, a purple line drawn to summon an Earthshaker worm whenever it detects sufficient ground pressure. Given the considerable weight of the Silhouette Knights, this trap appears perfectly designed to catch them unaware. The Knights suddenly confront an enormous shaker worm, larger than any they've encountered before. Ernie, displaying remarkable composure, dismounts his knight to analyze the creature's movement patterns. After completing his observations, he steps back, allowing Edgar and the veteran Knight Runners to handle the threat. Edgar's team executes a quad-link formation, efficiently eliminating the shaker worm with precise tactical maneuvers. In the capital, the conspirators' reaction to the shaker worm's defeat is unexpectedly positive. They're satisfied that the Silhouette Knights demonstrated such resilience against their test. Meanwhile, Addie grows increasingly anxious about Ernie's absence. When the hammer-wielding associate announces Edgar and the team's return, Addie and Archie rush to greet them, only to learn that Ernie stayed behind with the Marquis to complete unspecified tasks. Marquis Dickard contemplates Ernest's remarkable achievements with growing concern. He senses underlying threats, aware that such success inevitably attracts envious attention. Something about the situation troubles him, driving him to investigate further. During this time, Stefania enters her father's office for a private discussion. Once alone, she confronts him about his decision to inform Marquis Dickard about Ernie's project in advance, demanding an explanation. Before receiving her answer, the scene shifts to Marquis Dickard's meeting with Ernie. The Marquis requests a detailed explanation of the Silhouette Knight Tale's mechanical and electrical systems. Ernie enthusiastically complies, though he points out the ether reactor's limitations in supporting his more innovative designs. After carefully listening to the boy's comprehensive explanation, Dickard makes a startling proposition. He intends to claim credit for all of Ernie's work and seeks Ernie's acceptance of this arrangement. Ernie's casual acceptance of anonymity surprises and frustrates Dickard, who struggles to comprehend such indifference to recognition. When Ernie attempts to explain, Dickard cuts him off, emphasizing the historical significance of his achievements. He points out that Ernie's innovations have surpassed 3 centuries of technological development. However, Ernie interjects, revealing that his current achievements are merely the beginning. This declaration helps Dickard accept the unexpected situation. Settling into his chair, Dickard reflects on his own youth, recognizing similarities between himself and Ernie. The same enthusiasm, vitality, and innovative spirit. When he asks what drives Ernie to create such remarkable innovations, Ernie's response is disarmingly simple. It's just a hobby, nothing more. This straightforward answer helps Dickard find peace with letting the 12-year-old genius pursue his passion freely. Simultaneously, Addie's father meets with his children to explain his motives for arranging Ernie's meeting with the Marquis, revealing that his intentions were benign. During a peaceful morning coffee, Ernie shares his journal with Dickard, revealing the full scope of his understanding of the Silhouette Knight. Impressed by this comprehensive knowledge, the Marquis extends Ernie's stay by several days. Meanwhile, Addie struggles with Ernie's absence, becoming increasingly agitated. When she suggests infiltrating the Marquis's fortress to retrieve Ernie, the workshop team discourages this dangerous plan. Instead, David proposes a diplomatic approach to bring Ernie back safely. A crisis erupts as demon beasts assault Derry Village in the Philly Kingdom. The village's distress signal prompts the capital to deploy Silhouette Knights for assistance. Taking advantage of this distraction, the mysterious lady and her followers emerge, orchestrating chaos in the capital to incite conflict. Ernie, isolated at the fortress, remains unaware of these critical developments. Meanwhile, Diet tests his enhanced Goo Knight, evaluating its new mechanical systems and armor upgrades. When David inquires about the Knight's performance, Diet expresses such enthusiasm that he admits feeling reluctant to surrender Goo to Dickard. At this moment, Addie and Archie arrive with carriages containing the small man-operated prototype Knights, special units Ernie designed for them before his departure. David verifies their authorization to transport such valuable equipment, which they provide. Edgar and Diet join David in escorting Addie and Archie to the Marquis fortress. Following the successful defense of Derry Village, the Knight Runners dispatch a messenger to update the king and capital officials about the situation. However, the mysterious woman and her followers intercept the messenger during his journey. In a calculated move, they kill the Knight Runner, commandeer his Silhouette Knight, and conceal themselves in carriages before proceeding toward Dickard's fortress, their sinister intentions hidden behind this deception. As night falls, the Order of the Bronze Fang infiltrates the fortress's inner walls. Their Their leader, the mysterious woman, leads her followers to the workshop housing the new knight models. They reveal themselves, ruthlessly eliminate the workers, and seize control of the advanced models. The group then launches a devastating assault on the fortress, targeting buildings and residential areas with magical laser fire. Within his castle, Dickard and his advisor deliberate their response to the attack. When Ernie volunteers to confront the hostile knights directly, Dickard firmly refuses to endanger him. Instead, he deploys the elite Hammer Wart squad to engage the attackers. The squad quickly assembles into battle formation to face the mysterious woman. Despite their leader's direct charge, Lady Kirill expertly evades their attacks and withdraws from the engagement, having already secured their primary objective, the newer Silhouette Knight model. During their attempted escape, Carol's group encounters Edgar, Diet, David, Addie, and Archie, who have just arrived to visit Ernie. Mistaking them for fortress reinforcements, Carol immediately launches an attack, forcing them to scatter under intense laser fire. David rushes to get Addie and Archie to safety, while Edgar and Diet engage the hostiles. Diet battles Carol's subordinates as Edgar pursues Carol herself. Addie and Archie eventually join the fray in their prototype suits, though they barely make it in time to assist in the conflict. When Diet gains the upper hand against Carol's henchmen, a moment's distraction proves costly, as his opponent disables his mech with an EMP blast. Meanwhile, Archie and Addie catch up with Edgar, joining forces to pursue the thief who stole their mech. Back at the fortress, Ernie struggles with his inability to help until he spots David arriving with his carriage. Seizing the opportunity, he rushes to claim the last remaining man-driven mech and uses it to systematically disable the enemy robots. After completing this task, he devises and communicates a plan to recover the stolen Tessel. As Ernie implements his strategy, Carol and her remaining follower continue their escape toward the border with Edgar in hot pursuit. Growing impatient with the chase, Archie and Addie launch their attack. While Carol engages Edgar directly, her henchman attempts sabotage but falls victim to Archie's inadvertent trap, plunging into a lake that renders his mech inoperable. The battle between Carol and Edgar intensifies until she gains the upper hand, pinning him down and severely damaging his Earl Cumber before escaping with the tail. Diet and the others arrive to assist Edgar, but their pursuit plans are interrupted by a sudden demon beast attack. The group pivots to face this new threat, successfully eliminating the entire horde over the course of the night. Their triumphant return to the capital is celebrated as a heroic victory. In the aftermath, Marquis Dickard and his advisor analyze the Bronze Fangs incident, concluding that another nation must be orchestrating these attacks from behind the scenes. The king summons Ernie and his companions to establish a new organization, the Order of the Silver Phoenix, dedicated to mech research and development. He appoints Ernie as its leader, encouraging his continued innovation in mech design. During this time, Helly visits Edgar in the hospital, where he makes a solemn promise to recover her stolen knight. During their return journey to town, Ernie dreams of his robots, specifically his limited edition model running beyond his reach. He awakens to find Addie sleeping against him, and after failed gentle attempts to rouse her, resorts to playful teasing to wake her up. At the Silhouette Knight laboratory, scientists struggle to decipher the algorithm behind the Talisa's crystal tissue material. Chief Gaza's frustration with his team's slow progress becomes evident. When laboratory director Olver appears and probes Gaza about his own understanding of the Talisa designs, Gaza carefully evades potentially compromising questions. That evening, after excusing himself from Olver, Gaza privately vows to take action to regain the king's confidence, seeing it as essential to overcome the newly established Order of the Silver Phoenix. Meanwhile, in a crucial meeting with the king, Dickard reveals his Bronze Fang investigation findings. They were Occident Kingdom mercenaries tasked with disrupting peace between Fenville and its neighbors. With a Talisa now in their possession, their future intentions remain a concerning mystery. The king's confidence in Ernie's team remains strong. When news of Ernie's promotion reaches his family, they receive it with surprise delight. The following day, Ernie introduces another innovation at the workshop, a modified miniaturized mech bot designed for efficient heavy equipment transport. His explanation of the mechanics and authorization for workshop use impresses David and the team. A significant milestone arrives as Ernie's team formalizes their partnership with the Marquis Knights. They then receive an intriguing royal decree. The king has scheduled a competitive demonstration between the Silhouette Knight Lab and the Order of the Silver Phoenix in 10 months, requiring both organizations to showcase their most advanced mechanized robots before the kingdom's officials. This announcement energizes Ernie's team to push their capabilities further. Ernie immediately presents new robot designs while continuing to develop even more impressive concepts for the tournament. The following months see intense building and testing activities. Post-graduation, David expands the workshop by recruiting new members. During the induction ceremony, new recruits react with astonishment upon learning that Ernie is their leader. Afterward, Ernie meets privately with his investigator regarding the security security breach that compromised his designs. She reports that while the traitor is confirmed to be among the students, the true orchestrator behind the Talisa incident remains unidentified. Ernie expresses gratitude for her progress and encourages continued investigation. Addie, having overheard Ernie's meeting with the detective, bursts into the room after the investigator leaves, her jealousy manifesting in a demand to pilot a silhouette knight. Ernie's unexpected agreement catches her off guard. During a subsequent test of his latest invention, Ernie experiences a malfunction that launches him into the forest. His worried colleagues track him down, finding him unconscious within the damaged machine. Upon awakening, Ernie immediately launches into a discussion of potential improvements, despite his friend's attempts to quiet him, knowing David's likely reaction to the destroyed prototype. Back at the workshop, David delivers a stern reprimand about the destroyed machine, instructing Ernie to restrain his innovative impulses until they recover from the loss. Undeterred, Ernie immediately presents his next concept, a revolutionary machine designed to be powered and controlled by two people's combined mana. The new machine is completed within days, with Archie and Addie selected as test pilots. Though the initial design fails, Ernie maintains his determination to refine it. Remaining at the workshop, Ernie develops a sophisticated key system, providing Edgar with a prototype. This security measure ensures only authorized key holders can operate a silhouette knight. Edgar's testing reveals the system's unique characteristics and potential limitations. The spar finally arrives after months of preparation. Gaza's team presents first, showcasing silhouette knights with updated software and mechanics, though still based on traditional designs. After Gaza's detailed technical explanation, the king acknowledges his team's work before turning attention to the Order of the Silhouette Knights. Ernie's team makes an unforgettable entrance as their dual-piloted Centurion mech bursts into the arena, followed by their other innovative designs. The audience, including the king, is captivated by the sophisticated engineering. The Night Runners formally introduce themselves to King Ambrosis, a female, before learning the battle parameters: 4 of Ernie's mechs against 6 of Gaza's. Rather than feeling disadvantaged, Ernie welcomes the challenge after 10 months of development. Prince Rise, son of Crown Prince Liamus, arrives at the arena just before meeting his grandfather, choosing to witness the impending battle. As the king signals the start, Ernie's team launches an immediate offensive. Gaza's lab runners are caught off guard when Ernie activates his super turbo mode, his mech moving at unprecedented speed to quickly disable one opponent. Working in perfect coordination, Addie and Archie pilot the Centurion to split the enemy formation, implementing their strategy to isolate and overwhelm smaller groups. As their plan unfolds successfully, Edgar and Dietrich wait for their cue, then join the fray to engage the divided enemy forces directly. Edgar demonstrates his combat mastery against the runners, wielding the lightning flail to neutralize one knight while strategically buying time for Ernie's mana regeneration. Gaza's Aruan knights adapt impressively, managing to contain both Dietrich and Edgar, unaware they're executing a deliberate delay tactic. The king notes Gaza's team's resilience with approval. The battle's momentum shifts as Ernie's team faces mounting pressure from the Arubians. However, Ernie's timely return with restored mana proves decisive. His renewed strength turns the tide, securing victory for his team. The king concludes the match, declaring Ernie's team victorious, followed by a respectful exchange between all participants. In the aftermath, Amiz expresses curiosity about the Order of the Silver Phoenix's young leader. Gaza eagerly meets Ernie, their interaction revealing an unexpected rapport. Ulver and Ambrosis strategically divide responsibilities. The laboratory will refine new designs while Ernie's team continues innovation. The encounter reinvigorates Gaza's passion for silhouette knight development. 2 months later, as both teams work on improving their designs, a pivotal political moment unfolds. King Ambrosius summons Crown Prince Liamus and Prince Im Rise for a historic announcement. After 36 years of rule, he's abdicating the throne to Crown Prince Liamus. This momentous transition coincides with Ernie and his team's completion of their middle school education. In his new freedom, Ernie meets Prince Im Rise and receives a special request from Ambrosis to create silhouette knights for both himself and his grandson. Ernie enthusiastically accepts, carefully noting their specific requirements before beginning construction. A season later, Ernie unveils his creations, 2 magnificent machines, one golden and one silver, with similar capabilities but distinct aesthetics. An unexpected competition arises when both Ambrosis and Im Rise set their hearts on the Golden Tiger model. Their solution, a private duel with only Ernie and Addie as witnesses. The duel showcases Ambrosis's legendary spear mastery, skills that once struck fear into demon beasts themselves. Ernie and Addie watch in awe as the former king demonstrates his still formidable ability abilities. However, Imrise proves equally impressive, using superior agility to evade his grandfather's precise attacks. The prince's victory earns him the Golden Knight, while Ambrosis graciously accepts the Silver one. This moment of celebration is interrupted by alarming news. The dreaded shell-cased demon horde approaches Volheim, one of Fresnel Kingdom's most sensitive locations. The king immediately suspends his annual conference to convene an emergency strategy session with his generals. The shell-case horde represents one of Furl's most feared threats, a colony-type demon species operating with complex organization. Their strategy revolves around a queen unit, protected while worker demons conduct raids and hunting operations. This unusual structure makes them particularly dangerous and difficult to combat. Upon learning of the Silhouette Knight's defensive line against the ant demons, the king summons Ernie's team for an urgent briefing. When Ernie questions Alheim's strategic importance, the king reveals it as the production site for ether reactors. This disclosure galvanizes Ernie, who immediately mobilizes his team to defend this crucial facility. Their arrival proves timely. The Esselhau Knights have fallen one by one to the relentless ant demons, but the Order of the Silver Phoenix's intervention turns the tide dramatically. Am demonstrates the Golden Knight's power, decimating a substantial portion of the ant force in a single strike. The king joins the battle, directing Ernie's team to locate and eliminate the queen while they contain the worker ants. Ernie's group fights through the ant forces, activating turbo mode as they push deeper into the forest. Their tactical discussion about the knight's latest modifications is cut short by the queen's sudden appearance. The monstrous queen initially disrupts their formation, but Ernie quickly recovers and targets her legs. Realizing the ineffectiveness of this approach, he shifts focus to her vulnerable egg sac. The destruction of her brood enrages her, creating an opening Ernie exploits to sever one of her legs. With the queen destabilized, he executes a decisive strike, driving a lightning rod into her eye and channeling electricity directly into her neural system, effectively neutralizing the threat. Following their victory at Alheim, the king fulfills Ernie's long-held wish, instructing director Olver to guide him through the secretive village of Alheim, birthplace of ether reactors. The next day, Olver leads Ambrosis and Ernie through mountain paths, revealing an extraordinary truth. Alheim's inhabitants are a unique race blessed with extended lifespans reaching 500 years, enhanced mana capacity, and near-eternal youth. These gifts enabled them to develop revolutionary technologies like the ether reactor. Ernie absorbs this revelation in amazed silence as they approach the magnificent city of Ulfheim. There, they meet Elder Kitley, who exchanges formal greetings with Ambrosis before acknowledging Ernie's role in defeating the demon horde. When Ernie boldly requests to learn ether crafting, Kitley's initial defensive response emphasizes the vast gulf between their knowledge levels. Undeterred by her skepticism, Ernie's persistence, combined with Ambrosis's endorsement, eventually sways Kitley to grant access to their knowledge. Ernie immediately begins his education in ether reactor technology, learning about the sophisticated components, the exchange crystal's use of specialized AA script, precise incantations, and the groundbreaking artificial blood system that captures atmospheric ether for mana conversion. Ernie's enthusiasm impresses during Director Alber's demonstration, his detailed questions revealing genuine understanding. The king rewards this dedication by granting him access to both the Beehof's heart and the Mother Queen Ant for study. While Ernie immerses himself in ether reactor research, his loyal team waits patiently for his training to conclude. After 3 intensive months, Ernie makes his final appearance before the Elder, who acknowledges his peaceful presence and suggests future meetings. Expressing deep gratitude, he rejoins his team and returns to the fort to resume night production. During this period, his private investigator delivers concerning news about another nation's plans for war against the Occident. While Ernie requests continued surveillance, an unexpected confrontation unfolds outside his office. Addie challenges Nora, the investigator, over perceived intentions toward Ernie. Nora diffuses the situation by assuring Addie of her purely professional relationship with Ernie. The culmination of Ernie's research manifests in his personal Silhouette Knight project. Incorporating advanced technology from both the Behemoth's and Queen's ether reactors, he prepares to test his innovative Ikaruga, while Famel's kingdom continues their own knight development program. Zadek's militaristic ambitions surface as Prince Karospilt rallies his forces with inflammatory rhetoric, laying groundwork for aggressive expansion against neighboring Federation states. His strategy proves devastatingly effective. Within a month, the Federation falls, sending shockwaves through the Shieldtrier kingdom. King Augusti Valo of Shieldtrier grapples with the implications of Zadek's brutal conquest. His daughter Leonora discovers him pacing anxiously nervously, though he attempts to assuage her concerns about the growing war rumors. Meanwhile, Zadok's military prowess demonstrates its full force as they overwhelm the Kushara Knights in a single day's battle, setting their sights on Shield Trier as their next target. Auguste mobilizes defenses, calling upon allied Federation Knights to bolster his forces. However, Zadok reveals their technological superiority through previously concealed flying warships. Under Knight's cover, these levitate ships bypass Shield Trier's walls, deploying Taranto Knights directly into the city's heart. The devastating assault, spearheaded by the formidable Lady Carol, overwhelms Shield Trier's defenses. Facing imminent defeat, Auguste makes the painful decision to ensure his daughter's survival, convincing Leonora to flee the falling city with 2 companions while they still have the chance. King Auguste makes his final stand, challenging Cristobal to a duel to buy precious time for his daughter's escape. While Leonora's companions urge her forward, she struggles with the decision to abandon her father, only relenting when they emphasize her crucial role in Kashara's future. The king's valiant last battle ends in defeat against Christo's superior knights. News of Kushbrit's fall reaches Zadok's king, who delegates control to his sister Catalina. Meanwhile, Leonora's group, now refugees, encounters hostile border guards at Kashara's frontier. What begins as harassment escalates to the princess's capture. The next day, Ernie's team arrives at Kashara's gates under the pretense of delivering merchandise to the king. Their suspicions are confirmed during an aggressive cargo inspection by the guards. Once they verify Leonora's capture, IMR and the team spring into action. Rise unleashes his Golden Knight while Ernie debuts his new Silhouette Knight, launching a decisive strike against the enemy forces. After their victory, Ernie's team discovers Zadok's forces using stolen telesale designs, spurring his determination to excel further. He orders the salvage of defeated knights while planning a rescue campaign for Zadok's captives. Meanwhile, Cristobal confronts Leonora with an ultimatum: marriage in exchange for her kingdom's salvation. Despite her reluctance, she finds herself trapped by the weight of responsibility for her people. Cristobal's subsequent meeting with his general reveals growing concern over rebel activities disrupting their operations. Lady Caril of the Bronze Fang volunteers to eliminate this threat, receiving full authority to proceed as she deems necessary. Nora's covert intelligence reaches Ernie, prompting immediate action to rescue Leonora from her forced engagement. The situation intensifies when a Zadok warship locates Ernie's group. After a period of surveillance, both sides engage in combat, with Ernie's forces launching a preemptive strike. The battle highlights individual confrontations, particularly between Diet and Gustav of Zadok. Gustav's knight demonstrates superior speed, forcing Diet to adapt his multiple sword fighting style against this formidable opponent. After forcing Gustav's retreat to the warship, where Caril's mockery draws a prideful vow of self-sufficiency from the defeated commander, Ernie's group sets course for Fontaine, a merchant city east of Kashara. They enter incognito, only to find an unsettlingly deserted cityscape. Regrouping at their hideout after reconnaissance, the team meticulously inspects their miniature Silhouette Knights, ensuring peak condition for the upcoming rescue mission. Under cover of darkness, they traverse Fontaine's rooftops, approaching the king's distinctive 4-tower mansion. Nora's detailed intelligence about the tower's security protocols enables a precise infiltration strategy. Given the uncertainty of Leonora's location, they split into 4 teams, each targeting a different tower. Ernie's team strikes first, discovering and freeing Martina, Duke Fernando's wife, managing a clean extraction just as guards arrive for their routine check. The coordinated rescue unfolds across multiple towers. Emraya successfully extracts his sister Isaida, while Addie finds her assigned tower empty. The operation reaches its climax when RC locates Princess Leonora in the 4th tower. Despite the triggered alarm, RC manages to convince the hesitant princess to escape, successfully reuniting her with her people in the forest sanctuary. Zadok's response is swift and forceful. Their war general deploys a fleet of warships, accompanied by Lord Goes, their brilliant warship architect, who sees this pursuit as an opportunity to evaluate these bold infiltrators. His anticipation grows as they track the fugitives, eager to test his levitate ships against worthy opponents. The confrontation comes the following day, with Ernie enthusiastically meeting the challenge. Lord Goes' astonishment at witnessing a flying Silhouette Knight quickly turns to determination as he orders its destruction. However, his forces prove inadequate against Ernie's superior design and piloting skills, forcing a retreat. The encounter leaves Goes with a burning ambition to surpass Ernie's achievements and restore Zod's aerial supremacy, while Prince Cristobal seethes over this humiliating defeat of their prized warships. Cristobal's initial skepticism dissolves when Goddess confirms the war general's report of Ernie's extraordinary knights, prompting an immediate order for pursuit and elimination. Meanwhile, Ernie's group reaches Nisher Station on the Old Cushion Highway, where they reunite with their engineers and make introductions. Taking advantage of their position, Ernie negotiates a strategic deal with Martina and local elders, offering knight upgrades in exchange for salvaged enemy units. When Cristobal and his war general launch their attack on Nisher, they're met with unexpected resistance from the Nan's magic laser defenses, forcing their retreat. While Ernie's team advances their knight research to counter Zadok's warships, a more personal drama unfolds. Princess Leonora, overwhelmed by grief over her family's fate, refuses the KPA throne. Amri seeks help from Ernie's group to lift her spirits, leading to Archie's intervention. In a touching moment, Archie approaches the despondent princess, who confesses her struggle finding joy while her people sacrifice themselves. His response is to show rather than tell, guiding her through the workshop, sharing the day's experiences. When questioned about his kindness, Archie's simple yet profound response, that she's special to him, nothing more and nothing less, marks a tender turning point in their relationship. Catalina's manipulation of Carol with an enticing offer sets multiple threats in motion. That night, while an assassin attempts to eliminate the sleeping princess, only to be thwarted by Archie's vigilance, mercenaries simultaneously infiltrate the workshop targeting the Silhouette Knights. Ernie's team, anticipating such treachery, lets the intruders walk into their prepared traps before launching a successful counterattack. Frustrated by her operatives' failures, Carol takes matters into her own hands, confronting Edgar and his Earl Cumber. Her overconfidence from their previous encounter leads to reckless attacks, which Edgar expertly turns to his advantage, demonstrating his growth as a warrior. The following day marks a turning point as Leonora, strengthened by her protector's dedication, finally embraces her royal responsibility to succeed her father's throne. Meanwhile, Cristobal receives intelligence from Catalina that spurs him into action. His march toward Nisher becomes a path of destruction, with small Cushion Kingdom towns falling victim to his forces' brutality. The night battle begins as Cristobal's 7-ship fleet approaches Nisher, walking into Ernie's carefully laid trap. On signal, Archie, Addie, Hammerdude, and their allies unleash a devastating spear barrage, immediately destroying 2 warships. The unexpected tactic leaves DoD stunned as Ernie's forces reload and continue their assault. Forced to deploy the Toronto Knights, Cristobal's ships suffer heavy losses. Edgar's ground team emerges from hiding to engage the landed forces, while Ernie takes to the sky in his demonic Ikaruga, drawing curses from Goddess as he swiftly destroys 2 more warships. Despite his general's pleas to retreat, Cristobal's pride drives him to order a desperate ground assault targeting the princess. The battle intensifies as Am's Golden Knight decimates Cristobal's soldiers, soon joined by Archie, Addie, and Ernie. Though Cristobal eventually orders retreat, Goes holds his forces back to observe. Ernie's team seizes this opportunity, launching spears to cripple Cristobal's flagship. The confrontation reaches its climax as Ernie pursues and boards the damaged vessel, only to face Cristobal himself, who emerges in his Silhouette Knight for a final showdown atop the failing warship. The final confrontation atop the warship reaches its peak as Ernie demonstrates his MCH's superiority. When Cristobal attempts to sway Ernie's allegiance, he's met with unwavering loyalty to Frel. Ernie's subsequent offer of surrender drives the proud prince to a dramatic choice. Rather than face humiliation, Cristobal chooses a warrior's death, destroying his own warship and himself in the process, leaving the war general and guests stunned by their prince's final act of pride. The victory's aftermath brings significant changes. In Nisher, Queen Leonora's concern for Archie's battle wounds reveals their growing connection. Meanwhile, in Zadok, Catalina's grief transforms into vengeful determination as she grants Gas unlimited resources to develop the ultimate weapon, though the army temporarily withdraws to regroup. Leonora's leadership shines as she reclaims Fontaine, earning her people's devotion. The symbolic moment of Archie's formal pledge of loyalty precedes her inspiring address to Nisher and Fontaine citizens, promising national renewal. During this period of reconstruction, Ernie makes a breakthrough discovery: Etherite, Gas's revolutionary material capable of generating and converting ether to mana independently. This discovery finally explains the Levitate ship's capabilities, earning Ernie's professional admiration for the unknown inventor. Ernie's palace meeting with Alinor and Martina results in a mutually beneficial agreement: salvaged enemy knights for the kingdom's army in exchange for support rebuilding their own units. While David and Hammerdude jokingly unwillingly lament their exclusion from royal dining privileges, the arrangement proves successful, as Kushun's expanded silhouette night forces successfully drive Zadok's army back to their borders over several months. The peace is shattered when, during a rare moment of relaxation in Nishir's plains, a distinctive warship appears, the war general returning to avenge Prince Cristobal. Gas's warship, the Vior, demonstrates its power with a devastating laser beam attack, which Ernie's group narrowly evades. Rather than showing concern, Ernie welcomes the challenge, ready to face Goddess directly. The battle unfolds on multiple fronts. Ernie analyzes the Vior's Drake-inspired design while coordinating civilian protection and dodging the warship's relentless attacks. Meanwhile, on the ground, Diet and Gustav resume their rivalry, with Gustav's sword-laden knight pressing the attack while Diet patiently waits for his opening. The war general's increasing aggression with the Vior's speed and attacks only serves to provide Ernie with more opportunities to study his opponent's capabilities. The coordinated assault begins as Archie and Addie's spear barrage creates the diversion Ernie needs to damage the Vior's port side, forcing it to lose altitude. Meanwhile, Diet's patient strategy pays off against Gustav's aggressive swordplay, seizing his moment with a lightning flare before channeling his knight's remaining mana into a devastating final strike that destroys Gustav's unit. The aerial duel intensifies as Ernie's superior maneuverability steadily weakens the Vior's defenses. Pushed to desperation, the war general deploys his secret weapon, a yellow dust combining metal fragments, saltpeter, and sulfur powder. The trap works perfectly. When Ernie unknowingly flies through the mixture, Naruga's jet thrust fails. Though Ernie manages to stabilize, the general launches a final mana laser beam. Ernie matches the attack force for force, but the Vior's depleted mana reserves force a retreat, leaving the battle technically drawn, but Ernie's team sobered by their vulnerability. The encounter's implications ripple through both sides. Ernie dedicates himself to protecting the jet thruster from similar attacks, while in Zadok, War General Dudo visits Gagius's workshop to find him installing the Blood Grail, an enhanced ether reactor in the Vior. This new invention promises enough power to overcome any demon or jet thruster, setting the stage for an even more formidable confrontation. As Catalina presents Gustav with the royal family's prized alkalic knight, Ernie gathers his team to outline their counter-strategy against the smoke of death, proposing a jet thruster filter modification. The team's initial hesitation dissolves when Queen Alona pledges her army's support, transforming their defensive stance into a coordinated offensive plan. Queen Eleanor's rousing address to her people sets the tone for the coming conflict, her words kindling their fighting spirit. In a private moment afterward, Alona's apology to Ernesty for the burdens placed upon him is met with his characteristic humor, their shared laughter providing a brief respite before the storm. The following days see intense combat between Kuspa's forces and Zadek, with both sides suffering losses. The conflict escalates when Commander Sitz leads the Azure Hawks in a daring night operation to infiltrate Delvin Cole. Their initial success is threatened by the Drake's unexpected arrival, prompting Ernie's forces to engage with their own Levitate warship, setting the stage for a decisive confrontation. The battle unfolds across multiple fronts as Ernie faces Jess in his Ikaruga, while David executes a cunning naval strategy against the Vior. David's forces bait the Vior into pursuit through the clouds, setting up their trap. The coordinated attack begins with javelin spears, deliberately sacrificed to coat the Vior with oil, which Ernie's team then ignites, engulfing the warship in flames. Just as Ernesty moves to deliver his finishing strike, Goddess urges Dudu to activate the Blood Grail reactor. The war general's decision is hastened by reports of city infiltration. Upon activation, the Blood Grail manifests a massive red aura around the Vior, increasing its power tenfold and rendering Ernie's conventional attacks useless. The ground battle intensifies with Edgar engaging Gustav the swordsman, while the Azure Hawk's successful drawbridge operation allows reinforcements to clash with Zadok's Black Knights. Above, Ernie attempts a desperate gambit, charging his Ikaruga's two-pronged spear with mana-generated lightning and executing a point-blank assault through the Vior's aura. His bold strategy pays off as he penetrates the seemingly impenetrable barrier to strike the vessel itself. The ground duel reaches its turning point when Edgar manages to lock Gustav's blades, creating an opening that IM exploits with a devastating blast, separating Gustav from his knight. Meanwhile in the sky, Ernie seizes his close-range advantage, unleashing a barrage of beam strikes that shatter the Blood Grail's aura, leaving the Vior critically damaged. Dudo, refusing honorable defeat, attempts a final suicide run at at Alienora's fortress. Ernie pursues through the clouds, pushing his jet thrusters to their limits to match the Vior's speed, while it continues firing purple beams at the Queen's position. The decisive moment comes when Archie, in an act of desperate courage, boards his Centurion Knight and charges the cockpit, forcibly removing Dudu from the controls. With the immediate threat neutralized, Ernie redirects the doomed vessel away from populated areas. In the final seconds, he calls for Archie to abandon the Centurion and leap to safety. The dramatic rescue succeeds as Archie jumps into Ernie's arms, leaving the Vior to crash harmlessly in the distance. The spring of 1823 Western year marks the end of the Zadex-Kushara conflict, with Zadex's surrender to the Occident and Alienora's coronation as Queen of KPRA. The victory's bittersweet nature manifests in Alona's farewell to Archie, her unspoken hopes for romance met with his reserved departure, though Leonora offers a heartfelt embrace before letting him go. As Ernie's team of engineers and night runners depart for Fro in their Levitate ship, Goaz observes their new silhouette designs from afar, silently planning to surpass them. Back in the Oant, Ambrosius's gratitude for restored peace takes tangible form when he grants Ernie's modest request for a research laboratory, where the engineer immediately sets his team to work on advancing their technological dreams. The fruits of their labor transform the region as Ernie's mass-produced Levitate ships establish the first commercial flight networks between countries, ushering in a new era of interconnected prosperity. This technological revolution stands as a testament to how their wartime innovations have found peaceful applications in reshaping society.